लाइफ हो आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल, होठों को करके गोल, होठों को करके गोल, सीटी पर जाके बोल, मुर्गी क्या जाने अंडे का।
So, hi Romeo.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me.
We are really glad to have you on our first episode of Zero to Something. Can you just introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, of course. My name is Romeo. I'm from San Diego, California, and I am 20. I recently just started building an app called ShareSpot, and it's basically all I do every single day.
How's ShareSpot doing?
Going pretty good. It's going pretty good. I recently started marketing it and stuff like that about 2 weeks ago. And we recently just crossed 225 users. It might be a bit more because I haven't checked since I woke up, but yeah.
It's just on iOS, right?
It is on iOS, but I just recently released it to around 40 Android users. And so if Android users want to get an early test in, then let me know.
All right. How does your day go?
Yeah, for sure. So normally my day is pretty similar. I wake up around 8 to 9, sometimes maybe 10 if I go to bed pretty late. And then I just shower and then eat breakfast, and I kind of just check my emails, feedback from users while I'm doing that, nothing too crazy. And then right after that, I usually post a TikTok or something on Tumblr, Twitter, Reddit, like just try to post about ShareSpot again to keep it, active and marketing like that. And then I would actually work on the app itself. Usually I'll have something someone said that's a bug or something that needs to be fixed, and I'll try to get that fixed right away. Sometimes right when I wake up if it's really, really important. And then throughout the day, I'm just constantly monitoring it, trying to work on it, seeing what I can improve, do better, studying other social medias, and then a constant grind of learning social media in terms of marketing.
You're doing all this alone?
Yeah, right now, yeah. Yeah, everything from building, marketing, financial, everything, yeah.
So, what do you think you saw a gap or a problem in social media that made you think that needs to be fixed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it all started kind of when me and my friends were talking, and a lot of my friends were starting to kind of feel drained, of course, from social media. I think that's a big problem, especially in our generation, since we kind of have been on social media since we were kids. But I just felt like social media lost kind of what made it special. It used to feel like, you were seeing people's actual personalities, and now it's just optimized for attention instead of connection, right? So I wanted to build something that felt more human. A place where people could share without worrying about likes, follower counts, or whether something was good enough to post. And then the ideas that came from what you can share, the whole everything in one spot of ShareSpot. I also wanted one place where all things that could make up a person's taste and who they are could sort of live together instead of being split across all these different apps like Letterboxd, Instagram, Goodreads, your Spotify Wrapped, having to share that for your friends to know what kind of music you're into. I kind of just wanted everyone to be able to share all of that in one place.
So, where does ShareSpot need to be in the next 18 months for the whole bet to feel worth it?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. Of course, I really want to start seeing some more exponential growth soon. I think a lot of that comes from learning, social media and how I can attract more users through online. A lot of my growth right now is pretty linear, of course, so it's pretty steady, but it's pretty small. So, of course, over these next 18 months, I think just this year alone, before 2027, so maybe 6 or 7 months, I just want to see maybe a decent amount of users. I'd really like to hit 10K users by the end of the year. It's kind of a decent goal, I think. I would love to be a lot more than that, of course, but as solo founder, it's hard to learn everything that requires to get there, but that definitely is a big goal of mine.
So if ShareSpot never becomes as big as you think, God forbid, what is something that it might taught you?
Yeah, I think, that's a good question. I think ShareSpot has taught me just the basics of how to kind of validate an idea for a product, actually make the product, and then actually get users for a product. Because before this, I have never built anything. I just actually got into tech this year in January. And then of course I joined LinkedIn, and so I was really into the startup culture, startup space. But I was a college athlete prior to this, so I hadn't really had any experience in this area. So it definitely taught me a lot just in terms of how to build a product, how to make sure people actually want to use your product, and then how to get people on it and keep them there. So I think if this, like you said, God forbid if it doesn't work out, which,
Yeah.
totally a possibility. I'm totally okay with starting something new. Then I would just repeat the same cycle, but with a new product, and this time it would be a lot easier because I have learned a lot from ShareSpot, but that would definitely be where I would go.
You think that founders are failing more from bad ideas or poor execution?
I think for me it would be hard to tell because I wouldn't really even consider ShareSpot a big success, but I think that as I was learning, at least from what other people were saying online on Twitter, Reddit, X, or Instagram, whatever. I think a lot of people would just say that when founders, have ideas and then they go build it and stuff, they waste too much time, just building, adding features and not getting enough validation for the idea and not enough users that actually want to use it. So sometimes it can feel like a failure because you spend all this time building but don't accumulate any users just because you didn't go out and actually talk to any. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges that founders face.
Then, how do you personally protect deep work in an attention economy? Because everything's built to distract you. You manage
Yeah.
marketing on so many platforms and all. So, you get distracted or something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think because a lot of my time is spent on social media, specifically for marketing, I can definitely get trapped in sort of, the doom scrolling feel. I go to post a video on TikTok and then I catch myself watching one too many TikToks. But I definitely have gotten a lot better at that, especially because I'm already someone who doesn't use social media that much, to be honest. I don't even have Instagram. I don't really have like any really big social medias. I'm rarely on LinkedIn these days anymore. So yeah, a lot of my time, I think because I'm just so passionate and want ShareSpot to work, that it's a lot easier for me to stay focused on what's important.
All right. The quality of execution, because how better you execute the idea, it had an impact on ShareSpot.
Okay, so basically just like the difference between it being a cool idea and it like actually becoming a real product. Okay. So, I mean, I think at first it was hard because, the vibe had to, match the mission because I didn't want to just build like a random productivity app. I was trying to build something emotional, like the profile posts, like everything that's in the app. I really wanted to bring back the old MySpace idea. So execution was really important, and to be able to showcase my philosophy of, social media kind of being more of a toxic place inside the actual product, so that as soon as people could use the product, they would understand by not seeing likes, by not seeing other people's follower accounts, by seeing a bunch of different random posts on the feed, they would instantly understand, okay, yeah, this is just a place to share everything all at once, whatever I'm thinking, whenever, however. So that was definitely a very big, important part of how I would execute the product to match the idea of ShareSpot.
All right. So we're just talking about observation because I observe a lot. How much would you rate your observation skills out of 10?
Yeah. I don't know, observation skills, I guess, because observation is a lot, you can observe a lot of different things, and someone might be better at observing something than the other, but I don't know, I guess just 5, I just got I think I have average observation skills. I'm not too much better than anybody else next to me, I would say, so.
What's the one line version you'd use when you don't want to explain the whole thing about ShareSpot?
Okay. How long of a line can it be? No, just kidding. No, that's a good question. I think I would just say ShareSpot is a social app built around everything you love and not who's watching. I think that's how I would try to describe it.
That's really beautiful. How do you avoid getting trapped in endless iteration without shipping?
Yeah, I think for me, because I wasn't super into tech at the beginning, like I just got into it. I never really had that struggle of, wanting to make a product perfect. I kind of just built like really stupid things like every day or like every weekend and just and just launch them to people and see what would happen. Some of them are still public and don't have any users. Some of them have like 50 users, have like a bunch of stuff out there that is kind of just whatever. So then when it came to building ShareSpot, I kind of just built it and then shipped it right away to my friends, in like a private, kind of testing area. And then as soon as it went public, everything after that was really just user feedback. Every time someone would tell me, hey, this is kind of buggy, or I wish you had this, then I would just build it, and it was pretty easy from there.
So, how do you decide what not to work in a world full of opportunities?
I think like just with ShareSpot or in everything.
Everything in life.
Man, I think as long, this might sound a little cheesy, but I think as long as you're doing what you might be slightly passionate about, because personally, I'm not the biggest person to say like, oh, just do what makes you happy, because unfortunately, sometimes what makes you happy isn't gonna pay the bills type of thing, or what you're super passionate about isn't maybe going to be like the easiest or best thing for you to do at that moment. So I think as long as you are doing something that maybe makes you slightly happy, even if it is something that is outside of like a job or something that does pay the bills, then I think that's okay to do that. And in a life, like you say, a life of opportunity, there's so much out there that sometimes we can get overwhelmed, and sometimes we might feel like we should be doing a lot more than we are, or we can do a lot more than we are. But I think if you just do that one thing that brings you a little bit of joy, then that's good enough.
Do you get FOMO, fear of missing out?
In something specific,
Like
or just
something in general, like when you see people doing something like party, take it like trips or whatever.
I don't personally get FOMO, honestly, ever. I'm a little bit more introverted, so when I see people like going out or going to parties, then I don't really feel the need to go myself. I don't feel like, oh man, I'm missing out. I've definitely, had my own share of partying and stuff in college and being an athlete, so I don't really think I've missed anything too special.
Alright. Is discipline something actually real, or something people say when things go well?
I mean, discipline is real, of course. Some people have better discipline than others. I think, like you're saying, like real, like some people, might have better discipline in certain times, just because, it is easier to have that discipline when, you get that burst of motivation or something in your life happen that allows you to feel more disciplined. But I definitely think it's a real thing that if you don't have, or maybe are lacking, then should definitely try to work on, because it's really important.
Yeah. But would you still build even if no one clapped for it?
Do you mean like if nobody used it, or nobody?
It's something about validation. If no one cared of anything you built, be it ShareSpot or any other thing you do, if no one cared
So, like,
about
if-
it, yeah.
So like if nobody used ShareSpot, I mean, I wouldn't build anything, I don't think, if anybody used it. So yeah, I'd probably just go work at McDonald's or something at that point. Like, I don't know.
McDonald's is like the last option for people there.
Hey bro, McDonald's isn't that bad, bro. You get free
Rich?
McChicken on your lunch break. Like, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I've been hearing McDonald's a lot. People say, I'm not gonna work here, I'm just going to McDonald's.
Heck yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's my plan B. That's my plan B if ShareSpot doesn't work out.
What do you think is your relationship with failure? Does it slow you down or sharpen you?
My relationship with failure, I think, is really good. I think I have a close relationship with failure, especially being an athlete. I failed many times, and not just in sports, in school too, in work life, friendships. I think failure is just a normal part of life. So I think if, you can have a good relationship with it and say, okay, if I fail, then that's all right, just keep going, then that's a really important thing, and important characteristics that I think if you're going to start a business that you should definitely have. So
Yeah, bouncing back is a really important skill.
yeah.
So do you think distraction is more addictive now or just more socially accepted?
I think it's definitely a little bit of both. I mean, distraction is definitely a really big problem in our society, especially with social media, just because it's such a toxic loop. Sometimes social media makes you feel bad, and then you want to feel good, so then you go on social media. But I think that it definitely is socially acceptable as well to just sort of be, oh, I doom scroll TikTok for 2, 3, 5, 6 hours a day. When, that's not necessarily the healthiest thing in the world to do. So,
Yeah, TikTok is actually banned in India.
really? Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
It's actually crazy.
even before I knew it was a thing, like
Wow.
2019 or something.
Wow, so you've never had TikTok before?
No,
That's good, bro. Never get it.
yeah. So, comparison, again, we're talking about comparison. People are a lot into this. How do you stop yourself from, talk to yourself and say, you're comparing yourself, bro, that stuff.
Like through what you see on social media?
Anywhere. You see someone doing better than you, then you're gonna have that loop
Mm-hmm.
comparing
Yeah.
yourself with someone.
I think comparison is very important to kind of, as long as you have a healthy relationship with comparison, just like failure, then I think a lot of it is honestly okay. I think the only problem with comparison is really stemming from social media because the kids that are like in our generation are really absorbent and really and able to get influenced quite easily. So I think when you have these, teenagers or even, young 20s, mid 20s, they'll go on social media and start comparing themselves to these people who are the same age but doing a lot better and then forget that that's kind of only like the top 1%. They'll start comparing themselves to those people and then feeling like they're a failure. So
Yeah.
that's when I think comparison starts to get really bad. But I think,
About Gen Z, why do you think Gen Z gets attention so easily but also burn out fast?
yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I think that's just because we've had social media since we were like kids. We haven't really lived a life without social media. So I think that has really stolen like all of our attention span 100% because all of social media nowadays is just built around, short form content, being addicted for a few seconds and then getting you hooked for hours. It has really kind of drained the attention span of Gen Zers. And then a lot of it a lot of it ends up being a big portion of energy consumption so that when they actually want to do something that, they actually need to do or just are passionate about, like an activity or hobby, and they feel drained because they don't have that immediate dopamine reaction or effect from social media that they would get from social media.
Yeah. So, what is one thing we Gen Z are doing better than the older people, like the previous generation, millennials?
Good question. I think there's a lot of things. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things you could say that Gen Z is doing better. Of course, I think a lot of it would also be personal opinion. But I think if I had to say one, I think just being more open-minded, I think is a big part of our generation. A lot of people tend to think about the possibilities and outcomes of a lot of situations more than I think the previous generation did. I think we're a lot more sort of progressive, maybe, willing to,
Yeah, we take risks really easily, I think.
yeah, for sure. Just willing to see more sides, do more, not afraid.
Something we are doing really worse than the last generation.
I think social connection is a bigger problem, I think, as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because, which sounds weird, of course, because of all the social media that we have,
Yeah.
you think it would only help it. But I think when it comes to communicating and interacting with people in real life, I think we're kind of losing that touch that I think the generation before us had and was doing a lot better.
What happens behind the scenes when a founder say they're building consistently?
I think that
Sleepless
some
nights
people,
and caffeine and
yeah,
stuff.
honestly, everyone's different. So I think with me, when I was first building ShareSpot, my sort of routine, I guess you could say, was very, very chaotic and very like, some days I wouldn't sleep. Some days I would just stay up really, really late and then sleep in really, really late. I would constantly be stressed about 100 different things. So I think behind the scenes, a lot of founder stories is obviously, just grinding their product every single day, day in, day out. That's how you make a successful product. But at the end of the day, I think now, or anybody that sort of gets to a higher point, they still might have what seems like an unhealthy work schedule or work-life balance. But I think to them, it might be what's working, and I think what's working is what's important at the end of the day.
Yeah. So do you think that burnout is the part of the game?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think if you're a founder and you're trying to build a company and you're not getting burnt out, then you're doing something wrong. I mean, I think, any founder probably has just probably wanted to just quit some days and just give up because it definitely gets a lot. But the ones who push through and keep going are the ones who make it. So,
All right. So overrated, but still, I'm gonna ask this: what is success for you?
that's a good one. For me, yeah. The obvious answer for most people, I would say is, big house, nice car, a lot of money, which of course is nice. And then some other people might say, just good people in your life, which is also true. And I think both those answers are very real, and I'm not going to say one of them is wrong or the other. But personally, I'm not too materialistic, I guess you could say. And I'm not too worried about, being super rich. Of course it would be nice, and that's of course what I'm striving for, especially for my family and stuff, for them. But for me, my goal, I guess, in life is to just not have any worry, and I think in order to do that, that's when, you might need to be rich and things like that.
So, who do you idealize or get inspired from?
Honestly, I don't
Say Romeo
personally
Hazel.
have any. Say Romeo Hazel.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't idolize myself. I'm not that great. But even in terms of outside of myself, I don't really have any like idols or people that I look up to in the tech space or anything like that, to be honest. So
You want no one to inspire you, like parents or some.
no, not really, to be honest. Might be a weak answer, but that's just me, bro. Sorry. It's not because like I don't think there are like cool, exciting builders out there. Of course there are. But I don't know. I guess I just don't know enough about certain people to be able to idolize them.
So, one thing you are trying to improve in yourself as a builder.
I mean, I think in terms of building, there's not too much like the actual product. There's not too much I think that I focus on, to be honest. I think in terms of marketing, though, of course, I'm trying to improve every aspect of my social media marketing game, because that's definitely what I'm worst at, and that's definitely what is most important. I think that's where a lot of founders struggle, is distribution. So that's definitely what I'm trying to work on every single day. Is just
Yeah,
getting
you
more
took
users
some
and marketing the
courses
app.
or stuff like
No,
for marketing.
I don't. No, I mean, I think like, free courses or like just watching YouTube video, if that counts as a course, then yeah, sure, that, or just sort of.
Yeah. So, one movie that changed how you think today.
Okay, so my favorite movie of all time is called Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm not sure if you have heard of that,
Nah, I don't
but
watch movies a lot. I'll
okay,
definitely
so
watch it.
yeah, no worries. So, I mean, the plot is just sort of like this fox who lives in like a hole, and he's poor, and he kind of goes to these three chicken farms, and he steals their chickens or whatever. And so they like catch him, and they try to like dig up his home, basically. And so they're forced underground along with other animals. So that's a really big hardship for, Mr. Fox in the movie. But
Gotcha.
instead of giving up, he uses his intelligence to like dig tunnels into the farmers' houses and steal food for everyone. And he uses his, grit and ability to never give up to do this and save everyone. And, the main idea is, sort of about survival, family, cleverness, and how Mr. Fox's pride and thrill seeking puts the people he loves in danger, but is able to save them because he is super resilient. So I think for me, learning from that, and kind of taking the good parts of Mr. Fox, is to just never give up. And if you do something that messes something up or creates a bad situation for you or other people, then you just got to suck it up and find out the solution.
And that's it's animated movie.
Yeah, it's animated. It's animation.
Cool. So, One book you think every builder should have read. You read book?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I've probably read, 3 books this year, but it's hard. I don't think I read enough books to say like a really specific book. I think the most inspirational book I've read is called Atomic Habits. And it's basically, you should read it. I think it's a good book. I think there's a lot of stuff that can help a lot of people in it in terms of, how they live their life day to day. So I would recommend that one for sure.
What is the one thing you'd suggest me to improve in this podcast?
I mean, I think you did great, bro. Like, I wouldn't try to stress too much. I think that's probably something you could just improve on, is just being, more calm. Like, don't worry about how you sound or your question order, and, like, it's whatever. And at the end of the day, like, you can edit it, you can re-record, you can never post it. Like, don't worry, it's not like there's 100 people watching. It's just you and the other person. So,
All right, thank you. And the final thing, leave a challenge for the next guest. They might not know who you are. So something real that they don't expect for the next guest.
a challenge, like for like building or just in life, or
Something general and anything you would.
I think my challenge for the next person, yeah, text someone or reach out to someone that they haven't talked to in a really long time. Yeah.
All right, thank you for
Yeah.
doing this. Super glad
Thank you for
to
having me,
have
bro.
you.
Thank you, bro. Good
We'll-
luck with the rest of it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. See you.
See ya.